So, welcome to today's special edition of our live stream. I'm Agnieszka Hołownia-Niedzielska, your host and Senior Solutions Consultant at SPO Software. Well, last week, President Donald Trump signed the Genius Act, so regulation that establishes clear legal rules for stablecoins. Let's unpack this topic, and with that, I asked for help. And we have today an expert with us, Dr. Kasia Lasota-Heller, leading legal expert in blockchain and digital assets, managing partner at LL.M Legal Services, co-coacher of the Crypto Valley Association, president of the board of directors at the Swiss-Polish Blockchain Association, and a lecturer at the Kazimiński University in Warsaw. Well, Kasia, that's a lot. I needed to read it through, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for being invited, and I am very honored to be able to share my views, my experience, my knowledge about stablecoin. And perhaps I will add shortly, because it was a lot about me, but I would be nothing with the team of people who create Lexilons. Lexilons is a law firm placed in Crypto Valley, in the heart of Crypto Valley in Zug. And we focused on technology, on finance, on AI, but also create companies and generally advise our clients on cross-border compliance. And we do litigate. We sometimes go to the court and litigate against banks in Switzerland when we feel, or our clients feel, that something didn't go as well as they were hoping to. So we just full service law firm in Switzerland. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
And yes, today. Yeah. And today I will walk you through Genius Act. Genius Act was signed last week by President Trump, and I'm very much looking forward to the discussion.
Yes, so let's start. To start off, for people who might not follow this closely, so could you walk us through the average person? Like, who is this American genius everyone is talking about since last week?
Yes, so genius is not a human being. Genius is actually an abbreviation. And I think this President Trump and the current administration is known for fantastic abbreviation like MAGA, Make America Great Again, or Big and Beautiful, the Last Tax Act. And Genius is also an abbreviation which actually reads as follows: guaranteeing and ensuring nationwide innovation and uniform stability. This is what Genius stands for, and putting it very shortly in a language that an average person can understand, is actually a federal act about the requirements of issuing stablecoins in the US.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you, thanks. So when the Genius Act will take effect, quick reminder for our viewers, it will be in 18 to 36 months. Who will be authorized to issue stablecoins under this act?
So generally, Genius Act says what is stablecoin, and already now at the beginning, just to make sure that everybody understands, Genius Act addresses stable payments coins only, backed by traditional reserves. So Genius Act does not concern algorithmic stablecoin, does not really concern any kind of tokenized deposit, which might be held by US banks or other banks. It's just basically about issuing stable coins, stable payments coins that Agnieszka, me, or whoever can buy in order to purchase another smart coin, another coin which is issued on distributed ledger technology. And issuers are actually only companies who are licensed to issue stablecoin. And there might be banks or credit institutions which already exist in the US. It might be unlisted and trust banks, something what is very specific to the US legislation. Other issuers might be state-allowed banks, and somebody else who just simply has a license, which you may find an abbreviation also going through internet, which is called PPSI, is Permitted Payment Stablecoin Issuers. So important thing, in order to issue stablecoin in the US, one has to have a license. The stablecoin is only payments token, which is issued in digital form and does not concern any kind of algorithmic trading or something like that.
Okay, so as you said, but we are not only talking about banks that can have this license. Also, other types of companies may apply to get stablecoin issuers.
Yes, provided they will meet the requirements. Yes, and I think what is really important to remember that one of the biggest, let's say, challenges will be that in order to issue a stablecoin, the company issuing has to have a reserved on the balance sheet, which actually correspond with the number of issued stablecoins. So if somebody is issuing 50,000 stablecoin, it has to have 50,000 in US dollars in reserves. And those reserves, they cannot be, let's say, another crypto asset. I'm talking now to crypto asset, let's say, which is not admitted on the balance sheet on another bank. It only can be reserved, can only be held with allowed securities in the US, meaning cash, meaning US dollars, meaning deposits which might be held by US banks. Very important. So having an, let's say, very important car as a reserve will probably not meet the requirements because the liquidity also is very limited. The reserves must be as liquid that they will be possible to be sold and liquidated within 93 days. So something that might be might be sold very swiftly, very quickly, something very, very secure, let's say US state bonds, something like that, or cash.
Okay, yeah, so that's really interesting, and well, I can't wait to see it in practice. But are we about just to believe the companies that they have these reserves, or are there any requirements that the companies need to, well, prove it anyhow?
They have to have this reserve, and not only we believe, but they actually need to provide audits and reporting on them that they're keeping them. And to my knowledge, it was every 1 month those reports must be provided.
Okay, so really strict rules.
Yes. So definitely, it will not be easy, basically, to issue a stablecoin in the US.
Okay, yeah, and you already mentioned a formal definition of the payment stablecoin. How does it differ from what we understand, what market understand as generally a stablecoin? We have the definition, and it's payment stablecoin, yeah, just like you said.
Yes, it is payment stablecoin. So basically, really, if somebody says that Genius Act regulates cryptocurrencies or crypto assets, it's not necessarily true, because it's really only about payment stablecoin, meaning it's digital value. It's only used for payment purposes. So the purpose behind it is not investment. Somebody can keep them, obviously, but it's something that is, like we call it in Europe, e-money. So this is what Genius Act is about, and also very important characteristic of any stablecoin which will be issued under Genius. There must be a redemption right. So if issuer is issuing, let's say, Agnieszka stablecoin, so the issuer has to redeem it any right, meaning anytime. If I have 100 of them and we go to the issuer and say, listen, I want to sell them back, he needs to accept them and pay me the same nominal value back which I paid for the Agnieszka payment stablecoin. Basically, we need why it has even happened. There are many theories why President Trump decided to support stablecoin issuance. In the comments, I put a link to a short paper which I published on LinkedIn. It was about why Trump decided to support stablecoin and prohibited central digital bank currencies, basically CBDCs, because one of the reasons why we need stablecoins is if we want to buy or purchase another crypto asset, Bitcoin, Ether, or another ones, and we need them that they will be working on smart contract, on DLT technology, any other distributed technology. We need to have a value which will be able to exchange our fiat money into something that I can call crypto money. And this is why we have those stable coins. But what is really, really important, the stable coin in the US only has a payment function. We may pay with them for different service and goods. It must be a simple washing machine or whatever, provided that the store is accepting them. But the issue is payments only. So Genius or stablecoin under Genius is not about real estate coins, not about any kind of securities, not about any other tokenized assets. It's only about payments.
Okay, thank you for this clarification. Yeah, that's, that explains a lot, and I think that's something that's often missed when we are talking about Genius and all that buzz. And let's look at it from a slightly different perspective. I always say that the blockchain and the DeFi are borderless, but well, that would go also for stablecoins. But with this new regulation, not everyone will be able to offer their stablecoins in the USA. Yeah? How does the Act treat non-US issuers?
Mm-hmm. So firstly, if somebody even from abroad would like to issue an US stablecoin, needs to get a license like any other local issuers. That's the first situation. Second, might be that the US will accept issuance from abroad, but they are also conditions, strict conditions that have to be met for, let's say, Swiss or Polish or Scandinavian or Brazilian issuer just to directly offer their payment stablecoins in the US. Firstly, the legislation must be equivalent, similar what we have in the US. And under the most important two characteristics about this similarity is the reserve, that the stablecoin must be backed by a reserve, which has to be held in the US bank, very important. And second, the redemption rights must be included. And similar legislation means there must be transparency, what kind of rights are connected to the stablecoin, what are the conditions of redemption rights, and so far and so on. Second, very important condition to meet is that such issuer will be registered with comptroller office. It's not controller, it's comptroller, something that has been established in the US already in 60s, at the age of 60s, which really supervise, let's say, monetary policy of the US. And so, once again, generally possible, the reserves must be held in the US bank or any other like issuers and insurance, but it must be kept in the US. And the issuance regime of a country where the issuer is located is similar to the one which has been created under GIPS.
Okay, that's a lot of requirements to enter the market, so probably not everyone will be happy. But I would like to once more stress what you've already said, like where is the boundary, what's the reach, like it's for payment stablecoins, so nothing like tokenized loans or tokenized debt, or I don't know, solutions like JPM coin will be regulated. It's about coins that will be used to pay for something. Is that right?
Yes, and they are offered to a public, basically, because tokenized asset between banks, what we also may call wholesale stablecoin, is a different story. It's not regulated by Genius. It's interchange, means of interchange between banks, and Genius does not actually apply to them. It might be some intersection, what I told you, that the banks or the issuer has to have a reserve which is accepted as reserved money by US bank. If a bank has a already tokenized deposit, which has been accepted by supervising authority, like, okay, this is the reserves that you keep on your balance sheet, that somehow indirectly the tokenized asset can stand as a reserve, as backed good behind issuance of payment stablecoin, but generally Genius does not apply to offering of a wholesale digital money. Let's put it like this, or any other kind of tokenized securities or real estate token or tokens which are similar to bonds or shares. Those will still be tested by something what we call Howey test in the US. And if somebody is issuing a token which in fact is a security under the Howey test, meaning there is investment, there is return on investment, and the investment is a result of management of a fund efforts, then we have to do with securities, and they are regulated by second, totally different set of regulations apply.
Okay, thank you.
So comparing those them, issuing a stablecoin under Genius is much easier than issuing securities in the US, will be my opinion on that.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know, and thank you for expressing it once more loud and clear. And let's look for a moment at the bigger picture, like more global perspective. Do you think that the Genius Act is the kind of US answer to Europe's MiCA regulation, or do you see the market or approaches to be completely different, impacting differently the market?
They obviously impact differently the markets already for the reasons that MiCA actually regulates issuance of three types of tokens. One is payment token as well. Another is asset reference token. It's something that we can call kind of investment token, let's put it like this. And the tokens which are different to the e-money token and to this arts, which we colloquially call utility token. Genius only applies to payments token. So there is a difference, but obviously a needed one, because Europe or European Union has a legislation in place. And I know there is a lot of criticism why it has happened, and there is a lot of obligations that the companies need to issue a white paper, they need to have redemption rights as well, and so far and so on. But in my opinion, it's a huge step for Europe that other companies can come over and issue their crypto asset under MiCA. And also similarly, because US was always this legislation when whoever was issuing any kind of tokens was always fearing and trying to avoid by all means, because it was not clear what is actually a token in the US. Usually, the definition will go somewhere into the security. And since US has such a extra territorial jurisdiction, there is a lot of reporting obligation, especially in the light of taxation. People are trying to avoid the US, but if issuers are really thinking about issuing simple payments token to make sure that their clients have access to, let's say, exchanges operating out of the US, and they would like to buy their Bitcoin there. So it's actually a good move. And good move is also, this is my theory, that as you can see, dollar is recently losing value. And what I told you, that whoever is issuing stablecoins now needs to have reserved in US dollars and in US banks, it requires automatically that there will be demand on US dollars. So usually, based on simple economic principles, the currency shall go up. What will happen? I don't know. Maybe there is something on the market that will not directly lead to increase of value of dollars, but it was a good move to attract US market and attract US currency.
Yeah, that's a very valuable insight, actually. That's right. And reserves needs to be one-to-one. So that needs that no matter how much stable coins you need, you always need 100% of dollars for that. Yeah, I would say that Genius Act is important, but maybe this hype is a bit too much. I mean, it's a natural evolution more than the revolution, in my opinion, as well. It confirms what I generally preach, so blockchain will stay with us and the regulation will be more approachable for TradFi and non-technical users, but Do you see that's the same, more like an evolution, not the revolution?
I think I would also almost go that is like a step back in relation to something what we call decentralization, because many stakeholders or many clients, many users, many investors buying, let's call it crypto assets, they always use this word decentralization, DeFi. If you look directly what is actually Genius, what is stablecoin under Genius, it's nothing else that you pay to a centralized institution in order to have your reserve there, and then you can issue tokens which allows you users or your buyers to operate in decentralized matter, but still the reserves are kept by central institution. So I don't want to say there's something negative going on, but like you, Agnieszka, rightly said this is not any kind of revolution. It's just simply getting to some kind of status quo that investment funds, issuer of stablecoin will be regulated, and we will have more capital on the market from big investors. Because as long as we don't have a clarity, regulatory clarity on the market, then it's actually very difficult to get a kind of serious investment which is leading to a true innovation. There is some Bahamas, Seychelles, whatever issuers and exchanges. But when we looked on FTX or Luna, Terra, what has happened, there's a lot of risks also related to it. So I think Genius Act is bringing security, is a good move, but I wouldn't say there is any kind of revolution. It's just, as mentioned, I would also say there's probably a little bit a step to a centralization than to a decentralization.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And as we already see, usually right behind the regulation follow clear taxation rules like CARF, but that's topic for definitely another time. Thank you for joining us for this conversation on Genius Act, and thank you for discussing with me impact on the stablecoin market. Again, my guest today was Dr. Kasia Lasota Heller, founding partner and attorney at law at LL.M Legal Services. Kasia, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and for this great info pack on Genius Act. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Once more, my name is Agnieszka Hołownia-Niedzielska. We are SPO Software. And as always, remember to stay on the block to stay ahead. Thank you, Kasia.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.